I have another piece of role-playing history of Games Workshop's involvement with the productions of Chaosium's role-playing games, and it's this Stormbringer, Michael Moorcock's Stormbringer, originally published by Chaosium. This is the third edition of Stormbringer. They published the third edition of Call of Cthulhu in a hardback edition just like this, and this is the third edition of Stormbringer, based on, of course, Michael Moorcock's extremely influential novels and short stories and tales of a albino emperor and more importantly, and absolutely more memorably, his black crooning soul drinking sword. I don't know exactly why Chaosium and Games Workshop worked together at this time. Maybe Chaosium was having trouble getting in to Britain at the time, or maybe just Games Workshop was experimenting with something. I don't know. I didn't do any research on that at all. Unlike my my extraordinarily decent condition 1986, 1987 copy of Call of Cthulhu by Games Workshop, my Stormbringer is not nearly as good condition overall. That is just black duct tape. I actually bought this used. I had actually no idea that they actually did a hardback copy of this until 10 or 15 years ago, and that was not long after I bought this. A very big fan of the idea of a Stormbringer role-playing game. I don't have a great reverence for Moorcock's world building overall, but he had some really great ideas, and Storm Elbrick was one of his early works, and even though he's added a lot more to it since the original stories, which I read in the 1980s, those original works are not considered to be his very best works, but they have his most enduring ideas, especially the Black Sword. This edition does not have quite as impressive a series of plates in it, of colored plates. It does have a few. It is virtually word for word and almost image for image identical to the first and second edition. Actually, it's almost identical to the first edition of Rolemaster, including having, this page is the same. I get out my first edition Rolemaster. Gosh, what did I say, Rolemaster? My first edition of Stormbringer, and I have the box set just over there and could show you. But it does have a few new images in it. It's actually not as impressive to me as the previous as the previous book I had. But for example, it does have still some excellent new to this book artwork, so you can get a better look. I'm not doing this during daylight hours. I'm going to try and only do this during daylight, but I thought I'd do a short video showing a little bit about this book. I've never actually run a Stormbringer campaign. I've run a few adventures. I've adapted the adventure itself to a homebrewed setting that was sort of a late medieval witch hunting style, and I used the first edition demon summoning rules, which were not a perfect fit. I should have realized better, but I wanted it to be something other than burn power points, get demons. The demon summoning in this is much more free form. There's no power points. You summon up a demon and it does certain tasks or certain types of demons, and I very much like the way it handles demons. And I didn't want to do it as I wanted to be a pseudo medieval, but I've never gotten around to running. Though I do believe running Stormbringer. Though I do believe if I did, I would run first, second, third edition. I'd actually run basically this. This has everything in first edition except it has the first companion, and it has, I think, a couple of adventures that are maybe not in the original. It's been a very long time since I've actually went through my first edition. First edition has excellent. Actually, first edition maybe has a better cover because it has Bruner's artwork. But for example, this artwork is from the adventure that's included, and this is just directly from the Chaosium edition. This is not a new, which is not true of the Call of Cthulhu. The Call of Cthulhu book has all new artwork in it, and this one has only a handful of color plates. But and this is a Frank Brunner color plate, and Frank Brunner's work is absolutely magnificent for Stormbringer. And that is Elric, the Black Sword, on some sort of a horned steed. Looks like a horse with ram's horns. Appropriately chaotic mount for a servant, for an erstwhile servant of chaos. It has this solo adventure in here, the sea battle at Melnibone. Here's another color plate. Very good. That's a very dramatic color plate. I like that. Some very excellent work in here. Oh, and it does have painted miniatures for the Games Workshop, I guess Citadel miniatures for Elric in here. Just wonderful work from the geniuses over at Games Workshop and Citadel Miniatures. This is another Frank Brunner, but it's not color, but it is a magnificent Frank Brunner black and white. I guess that's Cimmeril lying there, and Conan, yeah, Elric, the inverted Conan, the Conan done backwards, everything inverted, which probably seemed like which was a very neat idea, but not exactly the most original. The original work was the Black Sword itself. I could run this as a campaign, and I have never actually had trouble finding players to play unusual things. I just got through running a year-long Rolemaster campaign using 2nd edition Rolemaster in a relatively small town in person. It had as many as 8 players at one time. Players whittled down, but I'd never had trouble getting people to show up. I ran probably about 45 sessions in that time, and 8-hour sessions. I never had trouble getting people to stay. You know, I ran basically 8-hour sessions, and I think I could probably do that, but with Stormbringer. But I don't know that that Stormbringers captures my imagination quite as well as some other fantasy tropes. There's always something a little shallow about the world of the Young Kingdoms. A little too slapdash. Old Mr. Moorcock had his opinion stated pretty negatively about the great Tolkien, and I think talk about a guy who just missed the point. Moorcock missed the point. I don't think, and I think his world building could really use a little help from being a little more obsessive and a little more detail oriented. Wow, it's fading in and out, isn't it? Because it's getting the light off of the screen. Not doing a very good job of showing that. Yeah, this is a fantastic painting. Another Brunner. This is this was the cover of the D20. I don't know if it was a cover of another book, but it was used on the cover of the D20 adaptation of Stormbringer, which was the 5th edition of Stormbringer, also called Elric, and then it switched back over to being called Stormbringer, and then I know Mongoose did a edition of it. I think it's back in the hands of Chaosium. I do not know. And Chaosium had the rights for such a long time to this, and when the Melnibodan pantheon was put into the old deities and demigods, it got pulled out along with the Cthulhu mythos, again, something which Chaosium had. Not because Sandy Peterson or Lynn Willis or Greg Stafford made a stink about it, but because somebody at TSR did. I think it was one of the Blooms, or maybe both of the Blooms, considering it free advertising for a competitor, which is frankly silly. If anything, they were advertising for Dungeons and Dragons at that point. That's kind of the point of up until even now, basically any role-playing game that gets any kind of press is also going to be mentioned alongside of Dungeons and Dragons. Anything role-playing related is basically sort of promotional material for Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons is so big. And it's true. It was true in the 1970s and 1980s. It was true in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. It's true in the 2020s. There's no particular reason for them to get upset about that. I'm sure Chaosium was not selling a tenth what Dungeons and Dragons was selling at the time, and I think that's probably carried on. But yeah, this one was not given to me as a gift by anyone. This one is one I bought. I think I've spent probably close to $50 getting a copy of this, and at the time, I don't know what they're going for now. Don't see very many of them. Pretty sure I got it off of either got it off of an Amazon seller, or I did get it off of Noble Knight way back in the day, back when Noble Knight was just starting out. But yeah, this is another Chaosium Games Workshop collaboration, published in both the United States and in Britain. You can see right there. You can see the American flag, right? Oop, well, wrong. Good job, Darren. Right there. You can see the British flag on the other side. It's anyway, probably went on a little too long, probably longer than I should have, considering all I'm doing is flipping through a book. But see you next time.